All right, so we're back, Mike and Kayla, for Tuesday Talk. We've got a rather interesting topic to talk about for our last topic of the day. So I'm going to read this off. So essentially, a bunch of young adults
Or
are
they like 19, 18, 19?
they're basically a group of 19-year-olds, from what I've read. The article says 21 young plaintiffs.
Plaintiffs.
So they're suing the government, and they're alleging that the government violated the constitutional rights of the next generation by allowing the pollution that has caused climate change around the world.
When they say next generation, who is that?
Our generation.
Why are we the next generation? Isn't the next generation being born right now?
Well, technically. However, they can't sue for them. People who are running the government now are the generation before us, correct?
Yeah, okay.
Therefore, the next generation to them would be us.
Yeah, okay.
Does that make any sense?
No, it does, but this is such like an abstract thing. That's like, where's the cutoff age?
Essentially what they're saying, and I have no idea how compensation would work for this, and I think it's just a lawsuit that's just meant to bring awareness.
Yeah. I'd hope so.
But this is kind of a genius idea.
You would.
Because if this goes through, and they win the case, can you imagine how much money they're gonna win?
But is it just them, or is it the next generation that will get the money?
I mean, I assume it'll be like, all right. So, essentially, this is kind of a big deal now because a bunch of articles that I've read have pointed to this as probably being the next trial of the century, if it goes any further.
Mm-hmm.
Which,
where is it right now? What court? Do you know?
It just got approved in a district court in Eugene, Oregon.
Okay.
So essentially, what happened was, in the district court, they said, yeah, you can sue for this. This is something that you can sue for. So now they're going to go to court in Oregon, and they're going to sue the government for climate change. It says, aged 8 to 19, backed by the NGO Our Children's Trust Association, something like that. So...
clearly, we're not a part of it.
No, but I would love to be. If you guys are listening, please let me in on this. This is you guys are geniuses.
Count me out.
So essentially, the way that I see this, I can foresee this happening is that something goes wrong. Well, I don't think something's gonna go wrong, but I definitely think that it'll make it pretty far into the courts. I think that in the next 20 years, you'll probably hear a Supreme Court case about this. And that's interesting to me because I wonder how that's going to work for them.
Dude, that's all I'm thinking right now.
Considering the fact that the pool of justices are even older than the people that they're essentially suing.
The first generation.
So essentially, they're suing Barack Obama, I guess, the leaders of our country.
Do you think? And is it just our country, or I feel like this is kind of like a world issue?
This is a world issue. However, I think that the way they put it, the way that they said, they said it, they violated the constitutional rights of the next generation by allowing pollution that has caused climate change.
Okay.
To me, that sounds like they're pointing out our government for doing things or not doing things that they should have been doing to protect our well-being for our future, and that they're looking for some sort of government compensation for that. To make that, they're looking for the government to say, yeah, we screwed up, and we're going to start changing that now.
Okay.
I think that's what they're trying to do, and I admire them for doing that.
I know it is just a message, and it's just for the concept of the whole thing, but it wasn't only the last this generation that's in power now. It wasn't just them that has screwed the world up so badly.
No, I know.
But we should be going back to
essentially, they're saying that you can't point this to just one person, so they're going after the government. Because who makes the rules about climate change? Or who makes the rules about pollution?
But that's also an argument of, is this a private thing or a public thing, like this issue? You know, like can the government, do like a carbon tax? Or is that like something that would probably work better if like...
That's why I think this is going to go so far in the court system, because there are no laws. There are essentially there's nothing that you can look back on and to have a the word that I'm looking for is losing.
Yeah.
It's gone. It's on the tip of my tongue. Don't have it anymore. But essentially there's no prerequisite court case that you can point to say, yeah, they tried to do that, but it didn't work because of this, this, and this.
Yeah.
There's nothing. I can't think of anything that could point to this to something like this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's no prerequisites for this. I don't think anybody has ever done this.
The only thing that has had to do with nature and like the government is back when one of the cases that brought us to states' rights, which was the speed limit that a boat could go between like New Jersey and New York and or Delaware. I don't know which one, but yeah, that's the and that was back way back.
I mean, yeah, and there haven't been to my knowledge there aren't really any pollution laws other than like public
don't dump it in the
throwing,
town's lake,
throwing your garbage places, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay, I already had my gripe of, okay, like the last generation isn't like it's not like the baby boomers came around and then just started wreaking havoc on the earth all on their own, but that was my and I see like, yeah, we can't exactly pinpoint it down to like people that are from like the Industrial Revolution, but you like the idea that it's happening because something like this has never been seen before, and like nobody's gonna know what to do, and blah blah blah, and like it also brings up that is this the private sector or is this
I'm interested to see what the outcome of this is and how the government is going to either one, shut them down and tell them that they're wrong.
I don't think they can. I don't think anybody would allow them to do that. Like,
or two, how they're going to admit fault and compensate for it.
But they can't.
Or three, settle out of court. And
yeah.
And I don't think that they're going to settle out of court, that these young people are going to settle out of court without some sort of like extreme compensation for what they're actually looking for.
Next time we won't do this. Like
8 to 19-year-olds aren't looking for a lot of money, I don't think. I think they're legitimately concerned about the well-being of the planet
and like different policies and stuff like that
for the next few years, and that they want to see some change, and that's what they're trying to do.
Like how you said they admit fault. They can't. I honestly don't think that the generation before, like nobody in power, even government, like I don't think that they can admit fault. It's not just like anybody born from like 1948 to 1960 can be like blamed.
I don't think anybody could be blamed, but they could be held for negligence. Negligence,
and
as
also
in they didn't do anything to stop it, but they didn't do anything to keep it going. You know what I mean?
But like, what other, like Tesla cars are just becoming big, like, and like hybrids and stuff like that.
Tesla stock went up crazy the last couple days.
I think they're cool, but no, like,
I love Tesla.
But they didn't have like hybrids back then. Like they also just didn't.
They didn't have the technology.
They did, so you can't say, hey, it's your fault. It's like. It's like hitting a little. It's like punishing a little kid. Like
why then do I specifically remember moments when I was younger, when I was 6, 7, or 8, where people were yelling about climate change.
Yeah.
And yet we're still hearing about it, and it's only getting worse.
Yeah. No, but like, climate change doesn't just come from like. It's not just like this was 10 years ago. This stuff that's happening is due to a long history
of things that we've been doing,
of just dumping and like burning fuels and all that. So like you said, like you're interested in seeing like how this all plays out. I'm gonna predict right now what's gonna happen. nothing. Like
I'm
no,
gonna be really upset if nothing actually happens with this.
There's gonna be so much conversation and so much fighting back and forth, and like you said, in the next like 20 years, because things don't just jump up to the Supreme Court, you know, like
No, 100%.
this is gonna take a while.
This court case itself is gonna
Yeah.
take 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, and
things don't move quickly in the courts.
It's not TV. Like so during this whole process, there's gonna just be so many people fighting and like, you know, finger pointing, and then like, well, what really should we do? And then no, that's not a good program. We should do this, and blah 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 blah. And like, you know, and then people are gonna hear the word, hey, this generation is suing. Does that mean that like everybody in our generation gets money? You know, like like.
I think that you're right to an extent. I think that our generation is going to be like, oh, hey, let's get money out of this.
Yeah, like our generation is like fueling Bernie Sanders because he's like free tuition. They're like, yeah. Like
yeah, I think that our generation is going to blow this out of proportion. Yeah. But I also think that the people who are in power that they're suing against are going to be like, ooh, wow, they have a really good point.
Oh,
we should probably do something about this. Even if they don't win, I think that people in power are going to start thinking more about how much damage we've caused.
But I feel like no concrete. Like I think it's kind of giving us false hope. Like
yeah, I think it's giving us false hope as well.
It's definitely gonna fuel like other like, you know, the bad guys to be like, hey, we should have done things different. Mm-hmm. Hey, let's get programs together to change. Mm-hmm. But I don't think it's gonna be the great, you know, like Silent Spring effect type thing. Like,
I don't think it's gonna be the end all be all either.
Yeah,
but
this isn't.
It's nice to have some hope.
Yeah, it's not gonna be like this civil rights movement where things actually change. Mm-hmm. You know, like.
I wish I did this beforehand, but if you're looking for a nice documentary to watch when you're really bored,
I swear if you say it.
I found a what? What
No. Just say what you're gonna say.
I found a nice. When I was sick one day, I watched a lot of Vice documentaries because I like Vice.
You talked. The other thing was a Vice.
Well, the other thing was a Vice thing too, but that was just an article. There wasn't a documentary about it.
Okay.
Vice has this thing where they do HBO like hour shows, and they put the older seasons up on YouTube. Mm-hmm. And I wish I could remember the name of the video. However, essentially, it was a video that just scared the poop out of me. And it went. They basically went to a bunch of different parts of the world and started showing how like when 8 or 9 years ago, when the whole climate change movement started to happen.
Yeah, like people really were catching on.
People were catching on that something was happening, and it showed the difference between then and now, and how some people say, "Oh, it's not that bad," and then you go and you actually go see it for yourself.
Like see
and
what?
And there's like, there are towns in India that are just completely flooded.
Yeah.
You can't live there anymore.
Or like when you look at the glaciers.
Like they pointed out like 3 miles out,
mm-hmm.
we used to live there. Now we can't live there, and they're living on like wooden sticks that are just stuck in the mud.
Yeah.
And
it's
they're
not
just
like
platforms.
It's not like the tide's coming in. It's like no, that's gone.
Yeah.
Like, that's like
and
10
they're saying
feet
that like
of water.
And essentially what they were saying, and we got to wrap it up.
Yeah.
They're basically just saying that we've already screwed ourselves enough.
Yeah.
We need to start doing some things that are going to stop this from getting any worse. Yeah. Because it's already so bad.
Yeah, we've already
lost so much land and so much time that we shouldn't be wasting it anymore. Yeah. So, with that, this is WICR.
On that high note.
This is WICR. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening, guys.
Follow us on everything once again. And have a good Tuesday. It's very nice outside.
Yeah.
Have a lovely Tuesday.
Thank you, Mike. You too.